Hello everyone. In our channel, you know that you guys know that in our channel we are discussing about the educational topics, but nowadays we are providing audiobooks for you. Today we are going to read out a story, and the story name is The Merchant of Venice. We almost all of the people know this story. Today I am going to read out this story for you. Once upon a time in Venice, Italy, there was a very rich merchant named Antonio. He had many ships that sailed in the sea. His ships carried different types of merchandise to other countries. He sold these goods there. He brought spices and other valuable from foreign countries and sold them in Venice. Antonio was a good and kind man. He always helped the poor. The people of Venice loved him for very much for his honesty and kindness. Antonio had a close friend named Bassanio. He was a handsome and young man and was born in a noble family. Bassanio liked to live a very luxurious life. He loved grandeur and style. He spent more money than he earned. As a result, he was very often short of money. In such situations, Bassanio would go to his best friend Antonio for help. Antonio would help him with cash. It so happened that Bassanio fell in love with a wealthy lady named Portia. Portia was known not only for her beauty but also for her wisdom. She was soft towards Bassanio too. He wanted to visit Portia in a grand manner, but he didn't have any money. So he went to Antonio. Bassanio, my friend, Bassanio said, "Dear friend Antonio, I am in great need of some money. I would like to visit Portia at Belmont, gradually dressed and with many servants. But I don't have any money right now. Please help me to fulfill my intention." Antonio said, "There is a problem, my friend. How much do you need?" 3,000 ducats Ventinian currency will do. I do have I don't have that much money with me now, as all my ships have gone out in the sea with merchandise. But don't worry, my friend, I will arrange 3,000 ducats for you. So he decided to borrow the sum from a moneylender named Shylock. Shylock was a very crooked man. Antonio and Shylock hate, hated each other. Shylock used to lend money with high interest. He used to lend money to help those who helped it and wouldn't charge any interest. Shylock Shylock agreed to lend him money, but on one condition: if he failed to repay the money in 3 months' time, he would pay a penalty. Shylock would cut a pound of flesh from any part of Antonio's body. Antonio willingly agreed, thinking that his ships would soon return with all the rich merchandise and he would easily return the money to Shylock by selling them. Shylock made Antonio sign a bond before giving him the money. Antonio took the money and gave it to Bassanio. Bassanio went to Belmont to visit Portia, grandly dressed, with many servants. Portia's father had died lately. Before his death, he had thought of an unusual plan to find a good husband for his daughter. He wanted a man to marry Portia for herself, and not for her wealth. He had 3 caskets made, one of gold, one of silver, and other of lead. One of the caskets had Portia's portrait, portrait in it. One of the caskets had Portia, portrait in it. The suitor who would first choose the casket with the portrait would marry her. The first one to try was the Prince of Morocco. He thought that silver and lead are poor metals. It is the caskets made of precious metal that can hold the precious picture. So he chose the gold casket. But all he found was a picture of a skull with a message that said, "All that glitters is not gold." The prince was very sad and went back home. Then came the Prince of Spain. He looked at the silver casket for a long time. On it was written, "He who chooses me will get what he deserves." The prince had a very high opinion about himself. He thought that he deserved the best. He therefore chose the silver casket and opened it. Inside the casket he found the picture of a blinking fool. He was very disappointed and offended. He immediately rode away. Then it was Bassanio's turn. He looked at the caskets for a long time. He thought, appearances are often misleading, but men appear good and they hide their inner ugliness under the fine clothes. So he chose the plain looking lead casket. On opening the casket, he found the portrait of Portia inside. Bassanio and Portia got married. There was great joy at Belmont, and the newly married couple were spending their time happily. But soon their happiness turned into sorrow by a piece of news. A messenger came with a letter from Antonio. The letter said, "Dear friend Bassanio, all my ships have been lost at sea. I cannot pay the money I owe to Shylock, so I have to pay the penalty. Dear friend, come and see me if possible. I would like to see you once before I die." Bassanio quickly left for Venice. When Bassanio reached Venice, Antonio was already in the court of justice. They were waiting for the trial to begin. The Duke entered the courtroom to his seat and the trial began. The Duke requested Shylock to be merciful and not to claim his pound of flesh, but Shylock wouldn't listen to him. Bassanio offered him twice the amount of money that Shylock lent Antonio, but Shylock didn't accept it. He said, "I claim my pound of flesh. The law is on my side. Antonio must pay the penalty written in the bond." The Duke was extremely sorry that he couldn't do nothing to help Antonio. The law was on Shylock's side, and the law must be abided. The Duke feared, although the wisest lawyer in Venice was coming to speak in defense of Antonio, he would not be able to save the merchant. Soon a young clerk entered the courtroom with a letter from that lawyer. The lawyer was ill and wouldn't be able to come to the court. He requested the Duke to let his young friend Dr. Balthazar defend Antonio. The Duke gave his permission, and Dr. Balthazar entered the courtroom. He looked very young, and the Duke doubted if the wisdom of the young lawyer could save Antonio. This young lawyer was no other than Portia in disguising, and the young clerk was her friend, who was also in disguise. Portia begged Shylock to be merciful and told him how God bestows mercy to those who are merciful themselves. Mercy, Portia said, brings a blessing to him who shows it and to him who receives it. All of us pray to God for mercy, but God will only have mercy on us if we have mercy on others. Shylock paid no heed to Portia. All he wanted was his pound of flesh. Portia asked, "Can't Antonio pay the debt?" Bassanio cried, "Yes, he can pay it, and even more. Even I can pay 10 times the sum my friend borrowed from Shylock." "Won't you take the money, Shylock?" Portia asked. "No, I demand the lawful penalty. Give me my pound of flesh." "Let me see the bond, Shylock," said Portia. Shylock handed the bond to her. She read it with great attention and then said, "You are right, Shylock, the law is on your side. You can claim the pound of flesh, but I would request you one more time to accept the sum Bassanio is offering you, and let me tear up the bond." But Shylock wouldn't uh, up his claim. Give up his claim. Portia then turned towards Antonio and said, "Get ready, Antonio, for Shylock to cut his pound of flesh. The law gives it to him." Shylock was filled with joy on hearing what Portia said. He began to praise Portia in disguise for her wisdom and righteousness. He cried out, "Oh, noble judge! Oh, excellent young man! You are second Daniel. You have come to this earth." Portia urged Shylock to cut the pound of flesh he demanded. Delighted, Shylock walked towards Antonio with a knife in hand. He told Antonio to uncover his chest, but as he was about to cut Antonio's flesh, Portia stopped him. She cried out, "Wait a second, Shylock, never forget, there is no mention of blood in the bond. Therefore you cannot shed a single drop of blood while you cut your pound of flesh, or else you pay the penalty. And the penalty is the state will take your property from you. You lose everything that you have now." Shylock understood it was not possible for him to cut a pound of flesh without shedding blood. He was defeated by the wise lawyer. He hung his head, and without another word he left the courtroom. Thus Antonio's life was saved. And here our story ended. Thank you very much. Stay connected with us. And what kind of video